My brothers and sisters and elders, there is a tendency in a human being, a common tendency. We have the tendency to be hungry, to eat, and to feel love and all that stuff. That's there. But there is a common tendency, and that is the tendency of ghafla. Ghafla is heedlessness, is neglectfulness, forgetfulness. We are forgetful for many things, whether it be small things, whether it be, sometimes we forget our wallets, sometimes we forget our keys, sometimes we forget our purses, our wallets, our backpacks, whatever it may be. Sometimes we forget something even bigger. And I highly, I advise everyone here that they don't forget this one. And that is anniversary. Because my brothers and sisters, if you want to forget it, that's fine. We will pray your janazah the next day, no problem. So, we forget many things like anniversaries, birthdays as well. Don't forget that. That's very important. So don't forget these things. Yes, we forget these things. It happens. And we even forget bigger things. We forget our duty towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We forget our duty to fulfill the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shown by the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It happens. We're in this dunya, right? And this dunya, this is what it causes us to do. With all of its deceptionness, it makes us forget. It ties us up in this world and we forget what our duty is in this world. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? Because He knows. He knows us more than anybody else. He knows us more than we know our own selves. He knows how to get us back on track. For instance, you're drowning. And someone throws, a lifesaver or a life jacket at you. How does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us? How does He get our attention? In the literature language, when the author, when he wants to get the attention of the reader, there's something called a hook. It's called a hook, where a reader, if you were to read it, as soon as he reads that statement, he gets attracted to the article, or he gets attracted to the novel. Man, this sounds really good. I'm going to read the whole thing now, right? This is called a hook. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets our attention. How? I give you another example. For instance, our children, right? They do something wrong, or they're throwing a tantrum. They're not listening. You want them to do something, they're not doing it. And you say, son, daughter, if you do this, if you do the chores, I'll get you something really nice. I'll get you an ice cream, or I'll get you that toy that you really want. Incentives, rewards, to entice them to say, okay, yeah, I think I should clean my room. I think I should wash the dishes. Because if I do, then my parents will give me something good. Because they promised me. Same thing. وَلِلَّهِ مَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can't even compare anything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we just give examples just for our simple minds to understand. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is how, He attracts us. He tries to gain our attention because we're so far away from Him. How? He reminds us of Jannah. He gives us the bushra, the glad tidings of Jannah, that if you do this, if you fulfill the commandments that I put forth, you will get this. You will get my Jannah. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He attracts us. And I just want to set the scene on how it will be on that day. Where the dwellers of Jahannam are in their location. And the dwellers of paradise, they're also in their location. And they all arrive. And they're at the door. They're at the gates of Jannah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He begins. وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا رَبَّهُمْ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ زُمَرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, and those who are mindful, who are God-fearing of their Lord, will be led to paradise in a large group. billions of people all together, those who have attained Jannah, they'll be brought forth in the gates of paradise. حتى إذا جاءوها وفتحت أبوابها وقال لهم خزنتها سلام عليكم. Everybody is gathered at the gates of paradise, but the gates of paradise are closed. They're closed. So everyone is thinking, who's going to open the gate? And why is this gate closed? Is Adam a.s. going to come and open it? Is Ibrahim a.s. going to come open it? Is Isa a.s. going to come open it? Musa a.s. are they going to come open it? And then you see Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam coming. And he comes right in front of the gate of paradise, seeing it closed. He asks the Khazilul Jannah, the gatekeeper of Jannah, he asked, why is this closed? Khazilul Jannah asked the Prophet sallallahu, who are you? And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, I am Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I have been ordered not to open this gate, except for you. Subhanallah. Except for you, Ya Rasulullah, I was not ordered to open it, except for you. But you are here today, we will open the doors for you today. وَفُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُهَا وَقَالَ لَهُمْ. The doors of paradise are open. This nation, the last to come, but to first to enter Jannah. This is one of the fadilah of being in the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The last, but the first to enter Jannah. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam leading us. And the doors are open for them. The malaika, they're opening the doors for us. And a welcome gathering. Salamun alaykum. The malaika, they say, peace upon you. Libidum. You did great. You did amazing in this world. You did good. You fulfilled the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You fulfilled and you followed the sunnah of your Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Libidum. You did excellent. You did good. فَدْخُلُوهَا خَالِدِينَ. Now enter in paradise forever and ever and ever. Eternal bliss. Subhanallah. And then as they're entering, they will say to the malaika, وَقَالُوا الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي صَدَقَنَا وَعْدَهُ وَأَوْرَثَنَا الْأَرْضَ نَتَبَوَّأُ مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ حَيْثُ نَشَاءُ فَنِعْمَ أَجْرُ الْعَامِلِينَ. They will say, all praise is due to the one, the one who has fulfilled his promise to us. صَدَقَنَا وَعْدَهُ. He has fulfilled his promise to us, and he has made us inherit the everlasting land to settle in paradise wherever we please to settle. How excellent is the reward of those who work of righteous good deeds. Subhanallah. And when we enter Jannah, my brothers and sisters, what will we see? That is the question. Because, to promise someone Jannah is something else. But to actually make them see it and to actually visualize it, imagine it, is something else. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't just say it's for you Jannah, that's it. No. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes for us. Because we're materialistic people, we like to look at things and we like to imagine it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving a description. Your Lord is giving you a description to my brothers and sisters, and He says, أَعْدَدْتُ لِعِبَادِي مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I have prepared for my worshippers something that they have never seen before. Something they never heard before. Something they couldn't even imagine. That is what I've prepared for them. What is that? Jannah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He begins describing Jannah. عَلَى سُرُرٍ مَوْضُونَةٍ. They will be all of them will be on jeweled thrones. You see their beautiful thrones with jewels, with pearls, with gold and silver, rubies, emeralds, anything you can think of. It's all covered and decorated for us. مُتَّكِئِينَ عَلَيْهَا مُتَقَابِلِينَ. They will be reclining on it, facing one another. You know how you have gupshup, you're hanging around with your friends, you're having mingling together, and you're talking to one another. You're not going to face to the opposite side. No, you're going to face one another, give that one another respect that they deserve. متكئين عليها متقابلين يطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون. They'll be weighted up upon by eternal youths. بأكواب وأباريق وكأس من معين. And with cups, pitchers, and a drink of pure wine from flowing stream. لا يصدعون عنها ولا ينزفون. This wine will not intoxicate, nor it will not give you any headache. It will not give you any intoxication like the wine in this world. How we drink it and then we become intoxicated, then we have a hangover. I'm not speaking from experience, okay? I just I've noticed that. وَفَاكِهَةٍ مِّمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ. And they will be served all different types of fruits from which they will choose from. وَلَحْمِ طَيْرٍ مِّمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. And from meat from any bird they wish, any bird they desire. And my brothers and sisters, remember, مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ. No person has ever seen before. Maybe we'll see a bird in Jannah, we don't even know what kind of bird it is. وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَىٰ قَلْبِ الْبَشَرِ. We don't even know how it will look, but just know it will taste good, inshallah. Better than the roast in Nihari Jabla, whatever Lahori Jabla we have here. وَحُورٌ عِينٌ. Yes, my brothers. And they will have maidens with gorgeous eyes. حُورُ الْعَيْنِ بِالْعَيْنِ حُورُ الْعَيْنِ. Their eyes, the whiteness of their eyes will be immensely white. The blackness of their eyes will be immensely black. كَأَمْثَالِ اللُّؤْلُؤِ الْمَكْنُونِ. And they will be like pristine pearls. جَزَاءً بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. And this was a reward for what they used to do in this world. لَا يَسْمَعُونَ فِيهَا لَغْوًا وَلَا تَأْثِيمًا. No, they will never hear any idle or sinful talk. إِلَّا قِيلًا سَلَامًا سَلَامًا. They will only hear that is beneficial, that is good, that is a virtuous speech. وَأَصْحَابُ الْيَمِينِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْيَمِينِ. And the people of the right, how blessed are they. فِي سِدْرٍ مَخْضُودٍ. They will be in the thornless rock trees. Big trees we will have. وَظِلٍّ مَمْدُودٍ. Clusters of bananas or any types of fruit. وَظِلٍّ مَمْدُودٍ. Extended shade. Such a shade that is so vast that it will take a rider hundreds of years to pass if he were to try to escape that shade. وَمَاءٍ مَسْكُوبٍ. And flowing water they will receive. وَفَاكِهَةٍ كَثِيرًا. Abundant of fruit. لَا مَقْطُوعَةٍ وَلَا مَمْنُوعَةٍ. Never out of season nor forbidden. وَفُرُشٍ مَرْفُوعَةٍ. And elevated furnishing. إِنَّا أَنشَأْنَاهُنَّ إِنشَاءً. Indeed, we will have perfected and created their mates. وَجَعَلْنَاهُنَّ أَبْكَارًا. And making them virgins, making them new once again. عُرُبًا أَتْرَابًا. Loving and of equal age. لِأَصْحَابِ الْيَمِينِ. For those of the people of the right. So this, my brothers and sisters, is the description that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us. And He also mentions in Surah Al-Muhammad, مَثَلُ الْجَنَّةِ الَّتِي وُعِدَ الْمُتَّقُونَ فِيهَا أَنْهَارٌ مِّن مَّاءٍ غَيْرِ آسِنٍ وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّن لَّبَنٍ لَّمْ يَتَغَيَّرْ طَعْمُهُ وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّن خَمْرٍ لَّذَّةٍ لِّلشَّارِبِينَ وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّنْ عَسَلٍ مُّصَفًّى وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا مِن كُلِّ الثَّمَرَاتِ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ إِلَى الْآخِرِ الْآيَةِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, the description of the paradise promised to the righteous is that in it are rivers of fresh water, crisp, delicious, cool water. Not like the water we see in this world today, where we have bacteria, viruses, worms, germs, whatever we have. Clean, crisp, purified water. Rivers of milk that have never changed in taste. Sometimes we have the milk in this world. What happens? We leave it in the fridge for too long? Expired. And then we open it and it's a bad smell. It went bad. No, not this milk. And rivers of wine. Delicate, delicious wine. Now it doesn't intoxicate, nor it will give us a headache. And the rivers of what? Honey. Subhanallah. We think of honey, we think of something that is so thick. How can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that honey flowing like a river? Subhanallah. وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَىٰ قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. Something that is not even imaginable. You cannot imagine it, but we try. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the honey of river for us, subhanAllah. And they will get any type of fruit they want, any type, whether it be in the summer, sometimes in the summer we can't get fruits in the winter. The fruits of winter we can't get in the summer, the fruits of summer we can't get in the winter. But in Jannah, we will get any type of fruit we want at any time, subhanAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us, that desire to run after His Jannah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Rahimahullah. Subhanallah, he gathers the ayat and he gathers all the hadith about Jannah. And he compiles it, and subhanAllah, he writes it really beautifully. The description of Jannah. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, he mentions the description of Jannah. And if you ask me about its ground and its soil, then it is of musk and saffron. And if you ask me about its roof, then it is the throne of the most merciful. And if you ask me about its rocks, then there are pearls and jewels. And if you ask me about its buildings, then they are made of bricks of gold and silver. And if you ask me about its trees, then it does not contain a single tree except that its trunk is made of gold and silver. And if you ask me about its fruits, then they are softer than butter and sweeter than honey. And if you ask me about its leaves, then they are softer than the softest and the most delicate of cloth. And if you ask me about its rivers, then they are rivers of milk whose taste does not change, and rivers of wine that is delicious to those who drink it, and rivers of honey that is pure, and rivers of water that is fresh. And if you ask me about their food, then it is fruits from whatever they choose, and the meat of whatever bird they desire. And if you ask me about their drink, then it is tasneem, it is zanjabil, it is ginger, it is kafur. And if you ask me about their drinking cups, then they are crystal clear and made out of gold and silver, goblets, cups, pitchers. And if you ask me about its shade, the shade of the tree, then a fast rider with the fastest of horses would ride in the shade of one of its trees for hundreds of years and never escape it. Subhanallah. And if you ask me about its vastness, the vastness of Jannah, then the lowest of its people would have within its kingdom and walls and palaces and gardens the distance that would be traveled in 1,000 years. Subhanallah. And if you ask me about its tents, now if you ask me about its tents and its little houses that is there, little houses, then one tent is like a concealed pearl that is 60 miles long. A small little pearl, right? In this world you see that small pearl, but in the Jannah it will be 60 miles long. A pearl that is caved in hollow, you can live in it. And if you ask me about its towers, then they are rooms above rooms in buildings that have rivers are running underneath them. Subhanallah. And if you ask me about how far it reaches into the skies, the towers, then look at the shining star that is visible. Look at it. And as well as those that are far in the heavens that the eyesight can possibly not reach. SubhanAllah, imagine how high it could be. And if you ask about the clothing of its inhabitants, then they are of silk and gold. And if you ask me about its beds, then its blankets are of the finest silk laid out in the highest of its levels. And if you ask me about the faces of its inhabitants and their beauty, then they are like the image of the moon. And if you ask me about their age, then they are young ones. At the age of 33 years old, the image of Adam alayhi salam, the father of humanity. SubhanAllah, 33, that is the prime age. And if you ask about what they will be hearing, what will they be hearing? Then it is the singing of their wives and from amongst the Hurul Ain. And better than that are the voices of the angels and the Anbiya. And even better than that is the voice of our Rabb, Rabbul Alameen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He will speak to us. And if you ask me about their servants, Then they are young boys of everlasting youth who resemble scattered pearls. And if you ask me about their brides and wives, yes, men, wake up. Time to wake up. This is your part here. And if you ask me about their brides and wives, then they are young and natured and matured and have had the liquid of youth flowing within their body. The sun runs along the beauty of her face if she shows it. Light shines from between her teeth if she smiles. If he sees his face, he sees his face in the roundness of her cheek, as if he was looking at a polished mirror. Subhanallah. He sees the brightness from behind her muscles and bones. She will be transparent. If she were to be unleashed upon the world, she would be filled with what is between the heavens and the earth, with beautiful wind. And the mouths of the creation would glorify, praise, exclaim greatness, and everything between the east and the west would be adorned for her. And every eye would be shut from everything but her. And the light of the sun would be outshined just as the light of the sun outshines the light of the stars. And everyone on the face of the earth would believe in the ever-living, the one who sustains and protects all that exists. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the covering on her head is better than the world and all that it contains. And she does not increase with age except in beauty. Free from umbilical cord, childbirth, menses, and pure of mucus, saliva, urine, or any filthy things, her youth never fades. Her youth never fades. Her clothing is never worn out. No garment can be created that matches her beauty. And no one who is with her can ever become bored. SubhanAllah, imagine, sometimes we can't even stand our spouses. We can't even look at them. Our wives, they look at us and go, man, get out of my sight. And sometimes vice versa. But SubhanAllah, on that day, we will be looking at our wives for 40 years. We will just stand there and just look at her and look at her and look at her. And hopefully she'll look at us too. Huh? No one will be bored by looking at her. Her attention is restricted to her husband. So she is the sole object of desire. And he is with her in utmost safety and security, as none has touched her before, or from either humans or jinns. They will be recreated, refurbished once again, as if new. And SubhanAllah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us. And if you say louder, Ameen. Ameen, Ameen. Now, sometimes, the sisters, they get kind of, they have that ghayra in them. Ghayra is sometimes hard to translate in the English language, but that ghayra is like that type of jealousy that, why is men getting all this stuff? What about us? Huh? The ulama, they say everything what is Ibn Qayyim has mentioned is for you guys. Don't worry. And your husbands will be 10 times more handsome than this dunya. If they weren't handsome in this dunya, no problem. They will be handsome in the akhirah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows how to get some hearts. You understand? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows the desires of men. They're a lot more. And He knows how to attract them. And if you were to ask me about the day of increase, and now this is where it comes to the end. When we see everything in Jannah, and everything is settled. A caller will come, and it will say, O dwellers of paradise, your Lord is requesting your presence. And everyone will rush and accept this call. They will rush to the gathering, they will accept this call, and they will go, and there will be spread out for them many, many seats. Many manabir nur. You have members made out of light. You have members made out of pearls, out of gold, silver, rubies, emeralds, diamonds, whatever it is. And for each person is according to their daraja in Jannah. So they'll be seated. Everyone will be seated. Everything is quiet, and a light shines from above. A light shines from above, my brothers and sisters. And this is your Rabb. He comes down, And he says, Ya Ahl al-Jannah, Assalamu alaikum. And subhanAllah, the most befitting response from the dwellers of paradise is, Allahumma anta salam, wa minka salam, wa tabarakta ya dal jalali wal ikram. Oh Allah, you are peace. From you is peace. Blessed art thou, exalted art thou. Subhanallah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will ask, O people of paradise, Ya Ahl al-Jannah, أين عبادي الذين أطاعوني ولم يروني? Where are my worshippers? They worshiped me, they obeyed me, though they have never seen me. Where are those people? And they will say, Oh, Ya Allah, we are here. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask, O people of paradise, the people of paradise will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, we are pleased with you, so be pleased with us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, Ya Ahl al-Jannah, لو لم أكن راض عنكم لم أسكنكم جنتي. That if I wasn't pleased with you, I would have never given you this Jannah. I'm pleased with you, that's why I gave you this Jannah. So ask of me and you shall receive. And they will look at one another and they'll say, Ya Allah, you gave us everything we wanted. We're here. We're in front of you, Ya Allah. What else do we want? Ya Allah, one thing. Ya Allah, we want to see you. We want to see you, Ya Allah. Ya Rabb, we want to see your face. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reveal, He will unveil the hijab between His abd and between Him. وَحِجَابُهُ نُورٌ, and his hijab is light. If you wanted, that light could have destroyed every single person there. But out of His mercy, no. He reveals the hijab and be able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And on that day, that will be the most blessed reward that anyone can receive. The top tier reward that a believer can ever receive. And on that day, it will be saying, وُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ. That on that day, some of the faces that day will be shining and radiant because of their good deeds that they did. And they will be looking at their Lord. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us this reward, this blessed reward, that we're able to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Allah, Ya Allah, we want to see you. Ya Allah, we worshiped you for many, many years. We didn't know how you look. Someone came and told us about you. Someone named Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came and told us about you. And we obeyed, we listened. Ya Allah, we want to see you. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding.